Hello, this is Shane. I'm doing my presentation on arrays, specifically numeric and indexed arrays. Just to start this template for the PowerPoint, everything comes just in capital letters, but remember all the code that's on here should be written actually in lowercase letters. So first off, what is an array? Arrays are complex variables that store multiple values in a single variable. It is a data type that contains one to multiple elements, and each element has a value assigned to it. An index is used to refer to the array. The length of an array indicates the number of elements it contains. So just like read all the bullet points there with a little extra example. So indexed arrays store each element with a numeric index. This allows for data to be stored under a single name, but the values can be accessed by referring to an index number. The numeric index starts with a value of 0 and continues from that point. The example is a simple array listing the various values. An index can be assigned automatically or can be assigned manually. Using an array allows for a small amount of data or a large amount of data. So in this case, down here at the bottom, I have 3 things. So to assign each one of those a variable would probably not be that big of a deal, but it would still be kind of cumbersome. But if you had 200 things, it'd be kind of difficult to assign each one of those 200 things its own variable. So arrays allow us to put them all under one thing, which here would be vegetables, and they would all be under that one variable. So in the example above, I've put an example of a simple array, which would be this one up here, how it's simply arranged. And then in the bottom, there's another one with actual things in it, and that is written down here, and each one of those would be assigned in numeric index. And so in this case, carrots would be 0, beans would be 1, and lettuce would be 2. In the next slide, I will show the same array, but the values are manually assigned. So these are more examples of writing an indexed array. So on this side is the numbers being assigned manually. So here, obviously, you just assign it instead of being automatically, you write it this way. So carrots have the numeric value of 0, beans have the numeric value of 1, and lettuce 2. The other side shows the same 2 types of arrays. Again, in the top, the index is assigned automatically, just as I had on the other slide. So dogs would be 0, bears 1, chipmunks 2. And then the bottom example showing the same data being assigned manually. So again, you can see that being assigned manually. The index array is useful so all the data can be referred to under one variable and not having each element being assigned to its own variable. Okay, to add and delete elements to an array. So to add and delete, you allow for items to be added and removed from the array, and because it is dynamic, being that it's PHP, then it will go across the website, which makes it dynamic. The first example shows code to add an element, which is done by leaving the index out of the brackets and adding the new element. As you can see there, the index is out of this element, and we're adding elk. So under this one, you can see that, how it would be elk is added at the end of the string here. And so then elk would be now number 3. And the next example here is deleting an element. But when the element is deleted, it can leave a null or gap. So first, to delete the element, you're going to have the array, and then we're going to unset number 2, which would be chipmunks. And then down here, as I said, it's going to show the L, the chipmunk, our null. Elk is our chipmunks is no longer there, but we have the null that is there. So having a null or gaps in the array is not good to do. And so in order to clean that up, then what we're going to have down here is you have the elements and then array, and you have are the elements here, and you have the null. We want to unset animals number 2, index 2, which would be the null. And then if we say animals array values, animals, then it's going to make it be dogs, bears, elk, and remove the null. The other thing that you can do also is you could, if you're manually doing it, then you could assign elk the index value of 0, which then would have changed this string and put elk in the first spot, so then you have elk, dogs, and bears if you wanted to change it manually. So some other functions that are there, and this is by far a very minimum amount of functions that are there, but I thought that might be useful. So this one is first how to get a range, and just like it says, we're going to start with 1 and end with 10, and so it gives so you have the range, which it's going to give. An array fill function returns an array with the count values in the starting position. So the starting position, how many we want, and the value. And then array pad returns an array with the value added to the end of the array until it contains the size given for the array. So here we want the array to be 10 elements in the array, so it's going to fill it in with zeros to get up to 10. And then of course array sum is just that. It adds everything that's in the array, so it would add everything in here and give you what the total was. Or array product is going to be multiplying everything here and giving you what the result is after you multiply the whole array. A few other functions that are there would be like combining arrays, searching arrays, and sorting arrays, to name a few.